Welcome in, everyone, to another episode of the Three Man Weave. I'm Luke Carter, joined alongside by Dylan Oliver, who takes the rock and passes it to Matthew Pierce to complete the Three Man Weave. We got a lot of interesting news in the sports world today as we approach closer to the start of the NFL season. And for everyone like us, it's beautiful because fantasy football is about to start. Everyone's about to get those drafts going these next 2 weekends. Ours is coming up Labor Day weekend. We can't wait. We're going to talk about some fantasy options in this episode.
I mean, the greatest big three of all time is those boys, Dylan, Luke, and Matthew from the Three Man Weave.
Before we get into those fantasy options, we did have some huge breaking news throughout the week this week. Of course, it all starts with Ashton Jeanty for the Las Vegas Raiders. I mean, in practice, the tweet came out. He was diving for a pass, hit one of the defenders, leg injury. He stayed down for a little bit, had to go to the back, helped off by trainers, couldn't put any pressure on the leg. The team did a prayer circle after he left. They cut the music, really dampened practice, of course. Obviously, that's going to have a huge impact on fantasy football. What are some of your guys' takeaways from this one?
Luke, I'll let you lead this one off.
Yeah, this is devastating for the Raiders. I mean, an injury of that caliber at practice, this close to the season starting, is just soul crushing, and it really shakes things up in fantasy football. For me, for example, I'm a guy who we play in a 14-man league. I'm picking in the back end. I'm at pick 9. Makes me want to take a running back in the first round, knowing an elite option off the board so early. It really, really shakes things up. I think Ashton Jeanty was primed to have a huge season. His ADP was in the first round, so that's a huge blow, and it really changes the whole complexion of how your first round, second rounds are going to look.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. It completely changes when he looks right now like it could be potentially, a serious injury, right? And so when we talk about the depth chart too of the Raiders, is they like Mike Washington, right? But it's not Ashton Jeanty. There's a lot of draft capital put into Ashton Jeanty. He was going into his sophomore campaign. He was primed to have a good year. Questions at quarterback still. But one thing that we saw about Jeanty still going back to college was he ran the ball. He got down on the ball. And like Luke talked about with fantasy, when we talk about the back end of the first, early second round, we're already seeing a premium for running back options going off the board. And when you remove one of those elite options, it immediately increases the price of all those other running backs as well when they lose their when he starts to lose his value. Now, we don't know exactly how long he's going to be out, but one thing's for sure: if you drafted before this news came out and you took him early, you are bummed with what happened today.
Yeah, I mean, it's looking like it's best possibly a 6 to 8 week injury based off the information we've been given. I mean, it did just happen a few hours ago, so there's no official reports out. But I don't think it's out of the realm of possibility that this is a season ender for him. So if you did already draft him, your season might already kind of be cooked. Unless you can get Mike Washington, maybe he can save something for you. A few more points of news from the NFL this week. We have Christian McCaffrey finally returning back to practice and George Kittle being activated off the PUP list. Some major moves there for the 49ers. If you are a Christian McCaffrey owner in fantasy, you love to see that. If you drafted Kittle, you also love to see that. And one last thing of news worth noting, I would say, is nothing too crazy player-wise, but the Browns have waived tight end Daquan Wright. And he, after doing a whole NFL training camp, if he clears waivers, he plans on going back to college and playing for LSU next year. What do you guys think about this? We've seen players leave college to go to the NFL. We've never seen players before leave the NFL to go back to college. So what do you guys think about this, and how can this truly impact the college landscape?
Well, this is
in the world of NIL. Why wouldn't you? Why wouldn't you go back?
And this is something that started to become a conversation a little bit ago, actually, when we start talking about the extension that NCAA has given to student athletes to play more years in general, right? So whereas generally you used to lose eligibility after your 4 years, redshirt 5, I mean, I've heard of players playing upwards of 6, 7, even 8 seasons with injuries and such. So when your eligible time frame is so wide, And when there's NIL money involved, it becomes more enticing, especially when you think you're going to get more playing time theoretically to potentially help your draft stock or potentially get signed down the line. So it's first of its kind. It's absolutely history. It'll be interesting to see if this is a train that leaves the station or if this is a man walking down the street. So
it makes all the sense in the world to do it. I don't know if I like it. It feels really weird. It feels like it shouldn't happen. But since the rules allow for it to happen, why would you not go back, make similar money as you would playing in the NFL with an NIL deal at a school like LSU, who you're playing in front of 100,000 people in the SEC? It's the second highest level of football in the world. It's a no-brainer to me. It's a very smart decision.
I mean, yeah, from Daquan Wright's side, I completely understand it, but I just think from the sports side in college, this man was just in the NFL. Like, it's just crazy. He went through a whole training camp, had an NFL experience, did all that, and is now just going to be going back and potentially playing against some freshman when it comes to certain teams. Like, this is a full-grown man who just played in the NFL, and now he's going to come back down and play against potential teenagers. So, I mean, I just think it's just crazy. It's going to completely change college sports entirely for NFL if this really, truly does become a trend.
It goes to show that the system is definitely flawed now as it stands. And
there are some problems there.
This might be the first domino to fall when it comes to getting that fixed up and changing things so that situations like this don't happen. But as for now, take advantage of the opportunity. I respect it.
Yeah.
The rules are the rules, right? I mean, not much else to say about that. But what does happen there, what happens with fantasy? Like, let's say someone takes a flyer on Daquan Wright in like a dynasty league. Do you like keep the rights to him or something? Like,
I think you're taking a flyer on Daquan Wright in a dynasty league. You need to just blow up your franchise.
You're probably
you should
right.
never be. You should never be taking Daquan Wright. Doesn't matter if it's a fantasy league or just a free draft league. Daquan Wright should not be getting taken on any fantasy roster.
But here's what I'll say.
What about college fantasy? College fantasy, game changer.
But I do have interesting players that should be on rosters that we need to talk about that have some controversy building this year, and we're gonna work our way down some of the ADPs, but we're gonna start at the top. Christian McCaffrey. We just talked about how he returned to practice. Kittle's back. Kittle's always a great piece for McCaffrey to have. He genuinely gets more points when Kittle is on the field. How do we feel about Christian McCaffrey? We're going to go thumbs up good, double thumbs up. I'm slamming this pick early. Thumbs down, I'll take him at value. Double thumbs down, I'm avoiding him. Are you guys ready?
I'm ready. Let's do it.
All right. Yeah. 1, 2, 3. I mean, he's just
okay.
He's one of those players that he's proven it.
Yeah, it's Christian McCaffrey. At the end of the day, if he does play and is on the field, he's one of the scariest options in fantasy football, and he has been that way since 2018. So it's been that way for a while. Obviously, you hate to see how much practice he has missed based off his extensive injury history and what happened 2 years ago, where it just started as soreness and then turned into him missing the entire year. But I mean, for me personally, in our draft, I'm pick 7. And his ADP right now is pick 6. So, I mean, I'm right there in the range to potentially get him. I'm not going to avoid him unless a terrible report comes out. I think he's definitely still a solid fantasy, not solid. He's a great fantasy option. He just needs to stay healthy, start practicing, and we need to see some more positive reports coming out from the Niners training camp that he will be there and is going to be ready to play.
Yeah, I mean, he'll be the whole game offensive game plan. Yeah. Shanahan's going to get him the ball. Brock Purdy's going to get him the ball. He's going to do Christian McCaffrey things. It's just the fear factor. That's the only thing keeping me from a double thumbs up. If you could tell me right now Christian McCaffrey's going to play 16 games, double thumbs up.
You're taking him in the first 3 picks.
Yeah.
Precisely. It's just the amount of touches.
He had 102 catches last year. Like, it's ridiculous.
Yeah.
And we play a PPR league, so like the reception total of that is it's
ridiculous. You want to who didn't get a lot of PPR last year? Justin Jefferson. All right, you guys ready? 1,
Yeah.
2, 3.
Do we have a middle?
We can have a middle.
Are you guys seeing that?
I did see that. Okay, I'm going the middle though.
Okay. Why is that?
I mean, I'm going middle just because at the end of the day, we do know it's Justin Jefferson. He is still a top 5 wide receiver in the NFL. He always will get 1,000 yards, no matter the quarterback. He did it with J.J. McCarthy last year, and that man was doing everything he could to help him not get 1,000 yards. I think Kyler is going to be an improvement over McCarthy. I think Kevin O'Connell is a great head coach who will be able to help Kyler Murray get back to not elite form we saw Kyler in, but a good enough quarterback who will be able to get Jefferson the ball, get him upwards of 1,200 yards and 6+ touchdowns again, and give him that production to be one of the top 10 receivers in fantasy. I don't think he's going to be a league winner again like he was in the past where he was getting 1,500+ yards and all that, but I do think he will be a solid wide receiver 1 for a team this year.
Yeah, I only went thumbs down here because you mentioned the ADP is 11. I don't think he's going to return 11 at the ADP. I think some of the running backs that are right behind him are just a better choice to take in the first round. But we didn't talk about having a middle. I gave a thumbs down, but I do agree with Dylan where I probably would flip it up to the middle because of the talent. He's Justin Jefferson. He's incredible. And like Dylan mentioned, it is an upgrade at quarterback, albeit slight. I think Kyler Murray will do a better job at getting him the ball than J.J. McCarthy did. So we'll stick with that middle. I think he's a few places back of where his ADP is at 11. If it's 11, I think he finishes somewhere like 14 to 16 range overall.
That's fair. I do agree with you when it comes to certain running backs behind him are going to be a little bit better. Like I personally, big Bengals guy this year, love Chase Brown.
I agree.
I prefer Chase Brown over him this year. I do.
Here's what I'll say. You mentioned the 14 to 16 range, Luke. If we're looking at our draft coming up in the next couple weeks, I'm picking at 12, which means I'm coming back around at 16. And if he's there at 16, it would be hard to pass.
You take him.
And that's why I gave the thumbs down, because I understand the talent, but I got to take him at value. I can't take him, within a couple picks of his current AD. Like I could take him at 12. So that's where I'm at with him. Another one going early or early second round, late first round, depending on your league size. Devon Achane. Achane.
Either one, dude.
You know who I'm talking about. The Dolphins.
Yeah, we know
that little quick guy. Not little. He's a big dude, but that quick guy. You guys ready? You got your thoughts?
Ready.
1, 2, 3. All right, Dylan. Why do I... Why the thumbs down, Dad?
I don't like anything about the Dolphins this season. As a Packers fan, I love what Malik Willis did for us, but I also saw what he did for the Titans, and he wasn't good. He was good with the Packers because Matt LaFleur knew how to use him. He schemed him up well. I don't think he's actually that franchise guy. I also know for a fact Achane gets a whole bunch of points in our PPR league by just getting receptions and dump-offs, which is something Tua would do a lot for him. Mike McDaniels would drop a whole bunch of plays for him to get those catches. Now you have Malik Willis, who isn't going to check the ball down. He's going to scramble. And the only way – and I mean, he's still going to get catches. He'll still do all that. But he's just not going to get the amount of receptions. And he's surely not going to get a whole bunch of touchdowns this year because I don't think this Dolphins offense is going to be doing much of anything. And on ESPN, his ADP is pick 10. So, I mean, like, he has to be a top 5 back, which in the past he has been. But I just think that this offense is going to regress so much, and his reception total is going to have to drop a little bit this year that he's not going to return value at the pick 10 in our league.
I could agree with that. Here's what I'll say. Depending on what running backs are around him, especially with Genty gone, I would consider taking him if he fell to 12. I'd have to see who else is on the board. But I think you make a lot of good points about the Dolphins offense just not having a positive outlook currently at all. So, Luke, you have any thoughts?
You know that one meme of like the pretty like rundown house with the sports car in the garage?
That's Devon
Yeah,
A.
That's
The
how I
Dolphins.
feel about
That is
Devon A. Chain.
that is
Um,
Devon Shannon. That's fair.
I think just they're gonna run everything through him, which could lead to him getting hurt if they overwork him. But I think the amount of volume will be there to where he will become very close to returning that ADP.
All right, fair
That's
enough.
fair enough. Luke, your pick 9, is
I'm
he
pick
someone
9.
who's on your board, or is he someone that's on your board in that first round?
Definitely a guy I'm looking at. Definitely don't know if I'm gonna take him. I'd probably not because I think I would go James Cook over him. I'd probably like at 9. I'm pretty much between James Cook and CeeDee Lamb. Like that's my choice really, assuming the top 8 go in order. So HM would be that third guy, but I do like him a lot, and he is intriguing to me.
Well, we got another running back up next, Josh Jacobs. A lot going on there. Let's get some thumbs up in 3, 2, 1. All right,
Wow.
you
All
guys
right.
got some enthusiasm here.
Yeah, I mean, Packers fan, no bias though. Obviously, he's a great running back. He's been a touchdown machine for the Packers since he has been there the last 2 years. His only downside is the risk of suspension right now because of some off-field antics that occurred in the offseason. But I mean, last season when he was healthy, when he was on the field, he was an elite RB1 option. Towards the back half of the season, he fell off a little bit because he was out there playing injured. He should have sat out some games, but he didn't, and that's unfortunate because it makes his season look a lot worse. But I think it makes him a tremendous value now in fantasy this year because I think he is still going to be one of the biggest components of that Packers offense. And I don't think he's going to get suspended because it's the NFL. And if you do something terrible in the offseason, you don't get suspended at least till the next offseason. So I think he's going to be fine for this year, and I think he's going to put up 12 plus, 15 plus touchdowns once again.
Luke?
Yeah, I'm literally right there with Dylan on this. I'm trying to find what his ADP is.
It's 31. 31.
Yeah, 31. That's a home run. I mean, without the off the field stuff, Josh Jacobs is a second round pick. There's no competition in that backfield in a phenomenal Packers offense. He's going to keep doing the same thing he's done in the last 2 seasons. And like Dylan said, I don't think the NFL has the balls to discipline him. That's the NFL.
No.
That's how it works. So
They're not
therefore,
going to
I
do
think he's
anything
an
about it.
absolute slam run pick in fantasy football this season.
Yeah, I like him. I would definitely take him. I'm not reaching for him. I'd probably take him between 31 to anywhere after that. I think he is definitely better than the kind of next tier of running backs with like Cam Scatterbo, Kyron, those kind of guys. So he's definitely
Miles above.
He's
Miles above it.
Exactly. He's in that upper echelon. And so when we talk about starting to compare him to those options, depending on who falls, there's a lot of wide receivers in the range. Lamar Jackson's there. So a lot of picks people can make around Josh Jacobs. I would definitely take him, a couple picks behind ADP and be really happy with it. So
I would take him picks ahead of ADP.
I'm aware.
I
I would
would
too.
take him.
I'm aware.
Yeah, he's a dog.
We got another guy here coming from the Arizona Cardinals, Michael Wilson. ADP is 79. So he's a little deeper of a cut. And here's what I'll say. I watched a little bit of their preseason, and I know preseason football means nothing. But the role Michael Wilson plays is very interesting. We got some thumbs ready? 3, 2, 1. You guys like my thumbs up? All right. Well, I'll give my
Matthew,
take
you're
first.
the lone wolf here. Yeah, you go.
I'll give my take first. Jacoby Brissett didn't look bad last year. He wasn't great. I think there are worse quarterbacks out of the 32 starters that are going to start this season. He was able to support Trey McBride in a very successful year. And whenever we saw Michael Wilson needed, he stepped up and produced to a very high level. Now, if we get Marvin Harrison to step up and be a bigger threat towards defenses on top of Trey McBride and then potentially Love in the backfield, there's a lot of weapons here that would free up space for Michael Wilson theoretically. Now, that means his target share is probably going to be smaller. But I think when you're getting him in the 80 range, there's probably some picks that are better than him, but not by much. And he's at 95 ADP actually. So he's a little deeper.
I don't like him. I don't like much of this Cardinals offense. Even if, I know last year he went on a crazy run, helped my good friend Rippy Galindo win a fantasy championship, but I still am just not a fan of them. I don't think he's going to repeat what he did last year. I think he isn't that. We know he's not that fantastic. We know it was just like a Linsanity run last year. They also have drafted Jeremiah Love, brought in Tyler Algier. They're going to try and run the ball more. The only receiving option I think that I would take in this receiving room is going to be Trey McBride. There's nobody else from this Cardinals offense that I want this year.
Well, we have another one on this list, and we'll talk about him in a minute. But Luke, I want to hear your thoughts.
I'm not going to waste anyone's time. Everything Dylan just said is exactly what I was going to say.
Well, then let's move to Marvin Harrison. His ADP is a little higher, obviously. Let's get a live look at Marvin Harrison's ADP, 77. So we got Marvin Harrison Jr. at 77 according to fantasy.espn.com. All right, you guys ready? 3, 2, 1. So Dylan's avoided him. Luke, we're kind of on the same page. Yep. Let's let Dylan explain his case, and let's see if we can salvage anything for Marv.
I'm not drafting him. I don't really care. It'd have to be 2 rounds past ADP for me to draft Marvin Harrison. All the things I just said about Michael Wilson, I also say here about Marvin Harrison Jr., except this guy never produced and never showed us that he can be an elite option like Michael Wilson was. The Cardinals don't know how to use him. This guy's in his head. He can't catch a pass in practice. He has not been able to show any sort of elite talent since drafting him a couple of years back. And I hate this Cardinals offense this year. I hate where he goes in drafts. I hate everything about Marvin Harrison Jr. in fantasy football this year.
Yeah, I only went 1 thumbs down instead of 2 because I do think this will be his best season out of his 3 so far in the NFL. But the ADP is still too high for me. I think everything what Dylan said, just a little less harsh, because I do think the talent is still, it can be unlocked, but it's going to be tough to do it in this Cardinals offense. And
have you seen his training camp videos?
Yeah, it doesn't.
Every ball that goes his way, it goes through his hands. He spikes it down to the floor. The guy forgot how to catch, and I just cannot look at that and be like, you know what? That guy's gonna have the breakout season right now. That's gonna be the guy this year.
I get what you mean. I get what you mean. Well, I agree with everything Luke said. So let's move along to a more exciting player, making not his debut, but starting the season healthy for the first time in his young career. Jonathan Brooks, cheaper pick at 109, current ADP of 109. You guys ready? 3, 2, 1. Backwards thumbs up.
All right, here we go. Let's hear from Luke, because I don't know why he's avoiding him.
When Chubes is generational. Man, fuck. I mean, I'm a Chuba Hubbard believer. I think this is Chuba Hubbard's backfield. Chuba Hubbard has showed the last 2 seasons how talented he is. I think Jonathan Brooks is a number 2. I think Chuba Hubbard stays the number 1 the whole season. Therefore, Jonathan Brooks won't come close to returning ADP. I think he is a handicap for Chuba Hubbard. I'm a Chubes guy. That's as simple as it is.
Well,
all right. Matthew, go for it.
I'll quickly make a case for Jonathan, and he was, the highest drafted running back a couple years ago. He had the knee injuries. They really like the talent. And now, case for Chuba, look, I love Chuba Hubbard. We all know that's my guy. They paid him a lot of money, but he just didn't look that good last year, and Rico Dowdle was able to take his job. And so if we're using the capital we did on Jonathan Brooks, you're going to assume they think he can take the job easier than Rico Dowdle can, and they're probably going to help him do that to a certain extent. Dylan?
Yeah, I also am not very high on Chuba Hubbard. I don't think he's as talented as you guys do.
Tubes is
And I do
generational.
obviously
Tubes is generational.
Jonathan Brooks is the talent. Like he is the talent. They drafted him very, very early on to take over this backfield before Chuba Hubbard had a good season. I think Jonathan Brooks hopefully will stay healthy this year. Hopefully play. And also Chuba's dealing with a hamstring injury the last couple of weeks. So like he's already missing time, and he's already got his job taken last year by Rico Dowdle, who I think is a less talented back than Jonathan Brooks. So now you bring in a more talented back. Chuba's already dealing with injuries. Jonathan Brooks, if healthy, this is going to be his backfield by week 5 to 6. It's going to be his.
Nah, bro, nah, we're not doing that. We're not doing that.
When
This is Tubes. We're talking about
It's not-
Tubes right now. We're talking about
Is not
Tubes.
that guy, bro.
Tubes is
not
going to have
that
a
guy.
huge year. Huge year
Tubes
from
is that
Tubes.
guy.
Yes.
I will bet you right now, Jonathan Brooks has more rushing yards than Chuba Hubbard by the end of the season.
All right, someone
All right.
write it down.
Whatever you want to put on it.
Loser
We're
has
putting-
to buy a Tubes jersey for Luke.
No, we're putting a Four Loco shotgun on this, Dylan. We're putting a Four Loco shotgun on this.
Oh shit!
Shoddy
Yeah.
fours.
Yep.
All right.
Shoddy 4.
Deal.
Well,
Alright,
you
Chuba
heard it
Hubbard
here
have
first.
less
You heard it
rushing
here
yards.
first. We'll check back in on this bet in a couple weeks down the line.
I can't wait for the breaking news in 10 seconds that Jonathan Brooks is out for the rest of the year.
There's no stipulations
Yeah,
here. It's whoever
Yeah.
finishes the RB1 at the end.
Yeah, if someone's
Yeah,
hurt,
yeah.
someone's hurt. That's just how it goes.
Yep.
Wow.
There it is.
What a time to be alive. And with that electricness happening, let's move over to the electric team themselves and the San Francisco 49ers. Deshaun
Aha.
Stribling. He has torn it up in preseason. So let's get our thumbs ups, thumbs downs, thumbs in the middles, doubles ready. 3, 2, 1. Big. See, I'm not reaching for him because he's a rookie talent. I've had rookies multiple times in fantasy leagues before, and it's just a slower come up, and the come up isn't always guaranteed. There's a lot of talent in this Niners offense. Shanahan's a very concentrated play caller and manager of a team. But this kid has stood out so well, and if I'm getting him at around 130, 140, I'm happy with getting a flyer like him in that range.
I think it
Yeah,
simply comes down to necessity. Mike Evans, he is leaving practice with a new injury every single day. Ricky Pearsall is hurt. They lost Jawan Jennings. Brandon Ayuk's gone. They need this kid. They literally need this kid. It's as simple as that for me.
Yeah, I completely agree with Luke. They drafted this guy early on in the second round. And like he was saying, everyone's getting hurt. And Kittle's coming off of that injury. I know he's now active, but you never know what's going to happen there. I think Evans is going to miss time. Ricky Pearsall's already out for the year. They absolutely need this guy, and he has shown flashes in preseason that he can be that guy for them, hopefully. So, especially at his ADP, him being this late, and he's probably going to be, at worst, the wide receiver 2 for the Niners, which is a high-powered offense. I'll absolutely take that all day long.
All right, well, I couldn't agree more. I'm not necessarily reaching. I do think there's a necessity piece there, but with Kittle, McCaffrey, Mike Evans, will he be healthy? We'll see. But Mark Andrews, another veteran in the league, is our next player on this list. Tight end going at around 111 ADP, 120-ish ADP. I know what I'm going to take. Are you guys ready?
Yeah.
1, 2, 3. Yeah, double thumbs down on that one for me. Luke, how do you feel?
Isaiah Likely is gone. That was really the big thing. Was there was so much competition between those two the last few years. This Ravens offense, still not much talent from the receiving core. At the end of the day, Mark Andrews, Lamar Jackson have great chemistry. And I think at 111, yeah, I'll take that. I'll take a flyer on that. I think there's enough in the past, and you're removing the biggest amount of competition to where, yeah, I'll take a shot on Mark Andrews, who we have seen can be incredible in the past. Yes, he's getting up there in age, but I think there's a opportunity for resurgence, and I think it's a small enough of a risk at where you're taking him. I like it.
I'm off on him. I've been off on him for years. That offense just isn't conducive to throwing a football. Derrick Henry's going to keep being Derrick Henry if I had to guess. And Zay Flowers is paid, man. They gave him a lot of money. So I've just always kind of been off on him. Dylan?
Yeah, I mean, for me, it's kind of course, he's getting a little bit older. We haven't seen him really be any sort of elite tight end in quite a while. The ADP is not terrible, but in our 14-man league, like, you're going to have to draft him probably around 8-ish, I want to say, maybe 7. So, like, he will be your starter no matter what there. And I've had him probably 3 of the last 5 years on my team at some point, and every single time he has not done what I wanted him to do. Of course, he did help me a few years back whoop Luke's ass to win a fantasy championship and destroy his undefeated season. But even with that being said, like, he just hasn't done what I've wanted, and I kind of have beef with him because of that. And a few years ago, I traded him, and then he kind of popped off after I traded him, which seems to be a common theme with me the last few years. And so I have problems with him, and I don't want him on my team. And I'd rather have tight ends in that range that are not him, because there's a few others going very close that are younger and I think better.
Yeah, I've always just been cold on Mark Andrews, but you want to know who's colder? Iceman himself, Caleb Williams. And he's the next guy on our list. 87-ish ADP. I wonder where that puts him in terms of quarterbacks off the board. Let me look at that real quick. Where do we have Caleb Williams? Number 11 ranked quarterback, behind Bo Nix, Dak Prescott, Stafford, Dart. And that's according to ADP and such. So, you guys ready? 1, 2, 3. Luke, let's get the good side first. What do you got?
I think he finishes as a top 8 guy. I can't believe his ADP is that low. The 4 you named, the only one I see maybe finishing better than him is Stafford. The rushing upside is there for Caleb Williams, and I think he's going to continue to put up large fantasy point totals. I think the Bears offense takes a little bit regress in real life football, but I think fantasy numbers stay there for Caleb Williams. Home run pick. I hope I get Caleb Williams. I'm looking to draft Caleb Williams.
I'll go next, kind of in the middle of you two. I would definitely take him. I just think there's a couple quarterbacks after him that I would take. Like, Trevor Lawrence doesn't look bad this year. Patrick Mahomes is down there due for a bounce back. And then kind of the main guy is Justin Herbert. Now, we did have the center get injured today and is out for the season. But we'll see what they're able to do. They still have time to adjust and stuff. And so I think there's just some quarterbacks that go after him that I'm more happy with taking a flyer on. But if I were to get Caleb Williams at like the 14th quarterback off the board, like let's say Trevor Lawrence, Brock Purdy, and Mahomes go before him, I'd be very happy with that pick.
Yeah, I mean, my double thumbs down is simply because he's a Chicago Bear, and the Bears still suck. It's all about the green and gold. Always has been, always will be. I'm not going to touch a Chicago Bear because they are ass. They always are ass. They've never had a 4,000-yard passer, and they're never going to. And Caleb is overrated and trash. So, Luke, you have fun drafting him in fantasy. He ain't shit. If I'm
that Caleb
being completely
35,
honest, I'd give him a little bit of a thumbs up. I think he's going to be solid in fantasy this year.
Yeah,
But
that's what I thought.
anyway.
That's what I thought. That's what I
Fuck
thought.
Caleb. Be a bitch.
I like the energy, though. We're really getting
that
towards football season.
That Caleb 35 ball on Dylan's head this year.
That's gonna be prime.
Yeah.
Football season.
When I then beat Luke and end his season again.
Bruh, I made the playoffs last year. You didn't make the playoffs last year. Come on.
You've got one playoff win. You have one win ever and you think you're shit.
Just wait. Thank you guys so much for tuning in today. I hope we could give you a little bit of insight, helping you guys on your fantasy drafts. Good luck to everyone, by the way. It's the best time of the year. I can't wait to just give these two the business this year.
Oh my God, no, you're not gonna beat me.
2 scrubs on screen with me. Yeah, I'm coming. I'm coming.
I beat you in the playoffs last year.
Yeah, a bulletin board material. I'm coming.
You better put up a bulletin board. That'd be really cute, Luke. That'd be really cute for you to put a bulletin board with something I did to you on it.
Thank you so much for joining us today, guys. The Three-Man Weave. We'll be posting episodes probably 3 times a week. Glad you're along for this journey. We'll see you next time.